Hi guys, welcome back to the new edition of this particular YouTube channel, Your Pro Tips. So in today's particular video, we are going to talk about a particular betting strategy, and I'm going to put you guys through the step-by-step guide on how you can, you know, make use of this particular strategy. So if you happen to be someone that is tired of some accurate, because we have some accurate strategies like handicap, over 0.5 or 1.5, but most of these particular games they don't provide us with big odds that we all desire. Sometimes we don't always like or want to accumulate a lot of games before we can actually generate accurate 1.5 or 2 odds. So in this particular video, I'm going to show you guys step-by-step guide on how to make use of this particular strategy, which is highest scoring half. So here you are going to predict probably if the numbers of goals that we occurred in first half will be more than in second half or will be equal. Actually, as you guys are seeing this particular market, you guys can see that we have the first half as 3.1 odd, the second half as 2.10 odd, and equal as 3.70 odd. So with just one game we can actually generate our 2 odd easily with just one match. So doing or applying mathematics to sports stats or for analysis, you can easily get tired, but if you guys have determination and commitment towards this particular strategy, you should be making something good out of it. I'm not stating that this particular strategy is 100% because I made a video on both team to score earlier, and so far so good. The strategy is not 100%, but we could feel the accuracy of this particular both team to score. It is always working like magic. Are you guys getting it? So this particular market too, I want you guys to make use of it, like test, apply these particular steps that I'm going to explain in this particular video. Apply to it, observe it very well, then you can start investing in it if you realize that probably maybe it is actually nice to go with. Now without wasting much of our time, let's get to action by making a brief explanation, because if I should go deep into the calculation and stuff like that, it will really take a lot of our time. So one thing about the highest scoring happens to be what I'm going to give you guys in this video is like a model, because it is a system designed to help you guys confidently predict whether the first half or second half of a football match will produce more goals, instead of guessing. Like this particular market, it is very easy that you just think of guess, but this time around you are going to apply data analysis, and this model uses statistic indicators like team scoring pattern, opponent weakness, average goal timing, and match tempo guide smart. So and I've mentioned one of the advantage earlier, that it will be very easy for you to just accumulate your 2 odd with just one game, and also it helps you to reduce guesswork, using actual team data and league trends. So it works well with for live games also and pre-match betting, but for the explanation I'm going to do it on a live match game currently. So we have just not the steps that involves in this particular strategy is not that really much, but let me just quickly make explanation of how you can actually do your highest scoring half predictions. So what you just need to do first, it can be stressful, make I no lie. So just look at the last previous games of the home team and the away team. What you need to do is to check the last 10 games. So the last 10 games, and the first step, that is the first steps. This is where you are going to calculate the team scoring split ratio, because this will help us to know how or if a team score more in first half or second half. So the process just involves the total numbers of goals that team A, that is for example this new Lampton, the total numbers of goals that they scored in first half, and we are going to check the total numbers of goals that they scored in second half in the last 10 games. So we are going to do the same thing for home team and the away team. Are you getting it? So after that, what you just need to do next is to divide the overall total goals scored, because let's take for example, let us just make use of our last 2 games as an example, but normal what you just need to do is the last 10 games, so that your analysis will be well detailed. Now but I will make use of I will make use of just last 2 games. So this particular new Lampton, in the last game they played 1-3, and in first half they had one goal. So in the first half they had one goal. You guys can please kindly make sure that you pay attention to details in this particular video. So the first half they score one goal, second half 0 goal. So you document that one down. So in the last game they played 0-0, which means first half, second half, no goal. Now you go to the away team also. Let's check the last two. But don't forget, I said last 10 is what you are going to check. I'm just using last two as an example in this particular video so that I won't take much of our time. Now in the last for the away team, so for the away team in the last game they scored 2 goals in first half, 2 goals in second half. 2 goals in first half, 2 goals in second half. Then you go again. The last 2 games, 0 goals in first half, 0 goals in second half. Now the next thing that you need to do, don't forget, for the home team, it seems like this particular home team, they always have problem in scoring, but they know how to concede very well. In the last 2 games, first one that we checked, they scored 1 goals in first half and scored 0 goals in second half. And the last two, they didn't score any goals first half, no goals second half. But for the away team, last game they scored 2 goals first half, 2 goals second half. Last 2 games, no goals first half, no goals second half. Now this is the next step. So what we just need to do is all the total numbers of goals that the home team actually had in their last 2 games is just 1. So if we are to just do the division, we are going to divide 1, which happens to be the total numbers of goals for their first half and the second half, because you are going to add the total numbers of goals scored for the home team in their first half and second half. You have to add it together. Then you are going to divide it. Use that to divide for the first half. Let's assume that now the home team had the total numbers of goals first half, second half in the last 2 games as 1. Now divide 1 by 1. So for the first half we are dividing 1 by 1, we are getting 1. And for the second half they were unable to score any goal at all, no goals at all. So we are dividing 0 by 1. So that will give us 0. Now moving on to the away team. So we are going to apply the same process for the away team also, because in the last 2 games of the away team, we can see that in the last game the away team scored 2 goals in the first half and 2 goals in the second half. But in this particular match they were unable to score goals at all, both in first half and second half. So the total numbers of goals that the away team had in the last 2 games happens to be 4, adding both the first half and the second half goals scored. Now the next thing to do is now that we are going to divide the 2 goals that the away team had in the first half, divide it by the total numbers of goals they had. Are you getting it? For both first half and second half. So if we are to do that, because now you are dividing 4, you are dividing 2 by 4, and we are getting 0.5. So we are getting 0.5 for the first half in the last 2 games, and we are also getting 0.5 for the second half in the last 2 games. So this is what happened in this particular game. Don't forget, they were unable to score in first half, second half, but here they scored 2 goals in first half, 2 goals in second half. Now divide the total numbers of goals that they've had in their last 2 games, because we checked the last 2 games. Now the total numbers of goals they had in the last 2 games happens to be 4. Now we are dividing the 2 goals they scored in the first half by 4, we are getting 0.5, and we are dividing the 2 goals they scored in the second half by 4, we are getting 0.5, and this gives us that 50-50%, like 50%. So the chance of making the chance of having the highest scoring half for this particular game, assuming that we are using the last 2 games, but normal you are meant to use the last 10 games. So assuming that we are using the last 2 games in this particular match, the chance for this particular match ending up as maybe first half to be the highest scoring half or the second half to be the highest scoring half is 50-50, using the first step consideration alone, because there are still more steps to consider. So it is 50-50 for the away team. Now if we check for the home team, it seems like they the high chance of this particular match ending up as the highest scoring half is the first half. So the logic about this thing is that if you are doing your score rating stuffs, that is the first step. Calculating uh, your team scoring split ratio. That's for this particular first step. Checking how the team scores. Uh, Everything must align into a particular. For example, we have the away team in this particular game to as 50% for the chance that first half will be the highest scoring half, 50% chance that second half will be the highest scoring half. If we have everything like draw like this all true for both home team and away team, then we can consider equal. So then we can consider this particular option of 3.70. But now we have it that the home team actually have their last two games that okay, the highest scoring half will be the first half, but the away team is giving us this particular signal that the highest scoring half will be second half. All right. Oh, sorry. The highest scoring half will be equal. Now, the second step, which happens to be the step two, happens to be the opponent's goal timing vulnerability. That is how the concede goes. Because when it comes to this particular step and this particular aspect, the same process we apply for the for calculating this team scoring split ratio is what we are going to use for this particular aspect. But instead of looking into the goals scored by these particular teams, we are going to look into the period, the half that is concede goals more. For example, in this particular aspect, team 1 they concede just one goal in the first half and they concede two goals in the second half. And for team 2, in the last two games, they didn't concede any goals at all. Okay, except this particular match, and they concede second half. So this particular aspect is giving us insight that there is high probability that this particular match, this particular current ongoing match, there will be more goals in the second half, because this particular team, home team, they concede more in second half, and also this particular away team, they also concede more in second half. So I'm just using last two games as an example, but normal you have to use last 10 games. So there is high chance that this match will end up as high scoring half second half. Now let's check. Let's assume that we are going for the second half high scoring half. Then that means we are going for this. Are you guys getting it? So in order to get the point for this particular steps 2 of opponent's goal timing vulnerability, you have to apply the same process that we use for calculating the team scoring split ratio. That is the first step. This particular strategy and this particular market is very tricky unless you want to be applying guess, like you want to be guessing. So the hint there is just that let's assume that you want to predict which half. Just make sure that your team scoring ratio support for the home team support that the first half happen to be the highest scoring half, and for the away team also just make sure that your analysis support that maybe first half is the highest scoring half. Now moving on to the goal conceding aspect, just make sure that the analysis supports that first, so everything must align together. So this will give you insight that okay, there is high chance of this particular match ending as first half high scoring half. And the next part that will give you another insight, because the third step of this particular strategy actually is the average time of the first goal. Like checking the last two games, we are checking normal we are checking last 10 games, but I'm just using last two games as an example. So you have to just get the average time of which they usually score their goals. So what we just need to do is to check the first goal scored in their last games that we want to do our analysis on. So for the home team, we have the first goal scored in 9 minutes here, and no goal scored here. So we check for the away team also. So the first goal scored here is at 5, and the first, okay, this one is 5 minutes, and the first goal scored here happens to be So this is 54 minutes. That is when their first goal was scored. So now this is what we are going to do. We are actually checking the last two games for the home team and for the away team, and that is that is giving us total matches played as 4. Now we are dividing the total minutes of goal scored. We are dividing it by 4. All right, so we have 9 for the home team plus 5 for the away team for last game, and plus 54. That is the second game played by the away team. And don't forget there's a particular match that ended up as 0-0 for the home team, so that one is not there. But we are actually evaluating 4 games. One actually ended up as a 0-0, so we are dividing it by 4, and we are getting 17. All right, so this shows that in this particular match, using only the last 2 games, there is a high chance that the first goal will come around 17 minutes. And when you're having your minutes around maybe 25 and below, 25, 20, 17 like this, there is a high chance that the high scoring half will be first half. So this shows that this particular game data is not balanced. And when you have a game that is not balanced like this, just try to avoid it. That is just the logic about it. So because when you are using the first step, which happens to be the team scoring split ratio, how the score goes in either halves. When you do it and you realize that the for the home team and for the away team is not rhyming, and when it comes to the opponent's goal timing vulnerability, which happens to be the time, the halves that they concede goals, maybe first half or second half, and you are not getting a clear, or a uniform pattern of the period that the score goes, what you just need to do is to avoid that particular games. But you guys can actually develop more on this particular model, because it is a very simple model that will really help you a lot. And also another thing about this particular strategy, the way this particular strategy can actually help you again, is to be for predicting the first goal time, because in the aspect of calculating the average time of the first goal, the step and the method of getting the average, you know average minutes of first goal scoring, you can actually apply that to predict this particular market. And also another thing that you can also do to get this particular market done is to apply the first steps and the second steps, that is the calculating of the scoring split ratio and the opponent goal timing vulnerability. So these particular strategies and method and steps will really help with time, predicting halves, high scoring halves, and so much like that. So if you have any question regarding to this particular strategy, please kindly drop it in the comment section. Ask your question, and don't forget to like our video. Join our Telegram platforms in case you want to be receiving daily free tips. See you guys in the next video. Bye.